Diamonds on my wrist when I step up on a diamond, 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 diamonds on my wrist when I step up on a
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show coming to you from Orlando, Florida today. As you guys can see behind me there, the TMSA, Transportation Marketing and Sales Association Conference, Orlando, Florida. This is my first time actually in Florida, and it is absolutely phenomenal out here. So I definitely will be coming back to this hotel because this place is absolutely insane. Dennis Everett, good morning, sir. Yeah, you've got a pretty great show for you guys here today. You got to, obviously a lot of stuff has happened overnight and everything like that. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. First and foremost, as always, you guys know that this show is brought to you by my friends over at VHub. Asset reallocation is the wave of the future in freight, you guys. It is here. You need trailers, all right? Like with regardless of the market, regardless of the season that is going on, we need trailers. We need to drop them at our customers' facilities. That's all that they want access to most of those times. So VHub brings that seamless option for you guys. And you know, the best part about it, and I don't have my normal setup here, so give me a sec. I'm going to share my screen and pull this information up, and I know you guys can see this. They have these one-way rentals that you can get paid to do that. So look at this right here, and you'll see this coming across that ticker. This is in the York, Pennsylvania area, going up into Coteau du Lac, and then you can get reloaded out of there to come back down. And again, you get paid to reposition this, you guys, $1,000 US. And then from there, they got reefer trailers available in the Monroe Township, New Jersey area going up into Coteau du Lac. And again, you can get some trailers out of there as well to come back down. And then for the one-way repositionings, they have them currently in Salt Lake City, Utah, going over to Delta, BC, just outside of Vancouver, as well as over in Arkansas, Paragould, Arkansas, going over there as well. And there's no graphic for this one, but it is in Glade Spring, Virginia. They have that as well. Those are ready to go. You get paid to reposition that. So again, that's going to help offset some of your guys' fuel costs and everything as well. So again, check it out. And then they also have trailers available down in San Diego going up to Spokane, Washington. So check it out, vhubapp.com. Hit up my friend Xavier Campos. He's going to be in the audience as always, showing his support, just like all of you guys already are as well. Tony Darnell, good morning. Rick Wooten, good morning. Dennis, it's not, I'm not a sir, I work for a living. That's funny. And Joe D'Angelo, good morning. Let's fucking go. You are right. As you guys can see, we got people walking around in the background, so you might get a little bit of background noise of people walking by, but that's just part of it. And, you know, like anything, you got to make things happen no matter what. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to, just because I'm at a conference, I'm not going to not go live and talk to you guys every single day. So that being said, let's dive into some show. As you guys see, we're at now day 42 of the Freight Coach Tally. There is a truck parking issue in this industry, and there is a facilities issue in this industry. And again, I don't do this for vanity metrics. I don't do this for likes. The fact of the matter is there needs to be change. And I'm not going to stop talking about this stuff until these issues are actually fixed in this industry. And like I say all the time, I will stop doing that when drivers stop sending me pictures of facilities that are not even allowing them to use the restroom at some of this. So again, that's where we're at with that. And then fuel. I don't even know if we can call it fuel anymore. It's now the price of gold. All right. That is officially what it is. It went up 16 cents a gallon week over week, 16 cents. I don't know who is pulling the plug on this or pushing these buttons, but this is fucking pitiful that it goes up 16 cents in a week. It is now up to $5.70 a gallon nationwide. $5.70. It's the price of gold, and it is not going down anytime soon. It does not look like it at all. So again, it is now more important than ever to know your costs. All right, plain and simple. If you're a driver out there, you got to know your costs. You got to know your break-even point. You got to know everything to try and stay profitable during these market shifts, during these times. We got to do it. So Stephen Peterson, good morning. Matt Barnum, good morning. And yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna, if you guys, so I gotta talk about the conference that I'm at right now first and foremost. You know, we were talking about the importance of marketing, the importance of sales, obviously with it being the TMSA. But, just like the resources that are out there. And yesterday I gave that's why I came out here, is they asked me to speak. And I talked about building up your personal brand and like the realities of content creation, the realities of building something from nothing. Like obviously I'm a one-man operation. I don't have a team yet, but like with where you are and where you need to start, just like with me going live every single day, this is a start. This is a work in progress. We're going to continue to grow and evolve, but nothing's perfect. Like you don't start at the top. You have to work your way up to it, and it was just like throughout content creation and everything else, it is building up in time. And, it's the same thing with your business that you're out there right now, or your book of business, or whatever that looks like. You need to focus on today. All right. You need to focus on today and what you can do today to make that change for you in the future, because that is what is most important, and so that's what it is. And there's also been some other great talks just about other tactics and everything else that are out there. And it's just one of those situations that, you can't lose the sight of the importance of marketing and sales. Because like right now more than ever, and even if you're a smaller trucking company that's out there, I think like, and you don't know, like, how do I even start marketing for myself? I think it starts with, having a clean truck, market the fact that you guys are professional drivers, and it's like, it's doing those little things right over and over again. And to me, that is the most important piece of this puzzle. Is it's like, having clean equipment, and then just the way you present yourself, like, and we went in, and actually my latest podcast episode that went live this morning, we talked about this, about standing out with shippers and really solidifying your partnerships with them, and, different things that you can take, because like your appearance and the way that you present yourself and the way that you get yourself out there. Because again, nobody has a big marketing budget at the end of the day, so it's like, what are those little things, those little steps that you can do day in and day out to help improve your business, and it'll pay off in the end. I think that goes a long way about, having clean equipment. Or if you're a broker out there, how, you are your direct representation. The carriers you source are a direct representation of what you do for your customers overall. It's Rick Wooten. Very true. I appreciate that. Samantha Bass, good morning. Tony Darnell, be the calm in the logistics storm. And yeah, Dan Penrod, you are right. Ask for recommendations from your shippers. Get out there and, and then again, it's like, I also think like being open to that critical feedback now more than ever. What do I do right? What do I do wrong? Most importantly, because I think like sometimes we focus on the fact that our trucks showing up should be some massive value add. And that's just not the case. Like, trucks showing up on time, expectation, you guys. There's literally no value add in that when you're cold calling and when you're trying to do anything along those lines. So again, it's those little things that can help separate you in getting out there and having those open and honest conversations with your clientele. All right, let's dive into some articles here today, you guys. The first one is coming from the joc.com, and it is written by Bill Cassidy, and it says U.S. trucking hiring surge gaining momentum. U.S. for-hire trucking employment surged for a second straight month in May as trucking companies hired 22,500 employees, according to data research by the BLS, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. May's employment gain following the additional 14,900 trucking payrolls in April should allay fears of near downturn in freight demand in the trucking industry. The non-seasonally adjusted gain of 22,500 actual trucking jobs, dock, shop, and office workers, as well as drivers, was much higher than expected. The Labor Department agency reported 13,300 seasonally adjusted jump in trucking jobs, and it indicated that the BLS expected for-hire trucking firms to add 9,200 employees a month, slightly less than the 9,700 non-adjusted jobs added in May. I think that this is a solid sign overall, and for me, it's like we need, like, the fact that there's still growth in this industry is what we need to focus in on. And I think for us to look at it from that perspective only is the fact that people are still hiring. Freight is still moving, and that's where the main focal point needs to be with all of this. Jason Miller, a friend of mine, a professor at Michigan State, says this is a massive gain, to say the least. That's 22,500 not seasonally adjusted job gain. While preliminary data suggests carriers are not experiencing a substantial decline in freight volumes. This aligns with the tonnage gains reported by ArcBest, SAIA, and Old Dominion Freight Lines here. And then, so again, it's like, it's just looking at the seasonality of this industry again comes into full effect. There is never going to be a perfect freight market. There is always going to be change. I think like that's the one thing that throughout the entirety of my career has been the one constant, and that's change, and the fact of the matter is people are still hiring, people are still growing their organizations, because like in any freight market, you guys, somebody's going to win and someone's going to lose. All right, it's that simple. That's the reality of business. That's the reality of our industry more than anything, is that somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose in any market that's out there. It goes on to say in this article that we're seeing a normalization in freight activity. We're not seeing crazy year-over-year growth, and the mixture of freight is starting to look a little less lopsided than it did last year, when we had more retail and manufacturing activity was below pre-pandemic levels. May's employment gain pushed the JOC for-hire trucking employment index up 1.5% to 103.1, the biggest month-to-month gain since 2017. So that was like, you got to think about it, back in 2017, that was pre the last freight cycle swing back in 18 and 19 that was out there. It's high, and then it goes on. The continuing surge in hiring also points to a shift in trucking's workforce away from the transactional on-demand spot market and more towards for-hire carriers and freight under contract. Falling spot rates and diesel prices higher than 5 gallon. Yeah, we were talking about that. So I think, for me personally, that is one of those, like, I think with where we are, is it's showing the seasonally adjusted volumes that are out there. And the fact of the matter is people are, when contracts are, higher than spot, just like we've been talking about here for a very long time, the freight's still moving, right? It's just now moving under contract. And again, as always, I would sing a different tune if freight volumes started to significantly drop, but freight volumes are still holding consistent out there. So again, if you're a small trucking company, if you're a broker, getting into that more consistent pricing for me is what it is because, you might not have access to getting locked in contracted rates. They might not send you a document that says we're going to pay you X dollars a mile for the remainder, for the next 30, 60 or 90 days, but you can go to them right now and you can get like creating your own freight market is something that we talk about constantly. All right. Create your own freight market inside of this. All right. Go to your customers and get locked in pricing and try and get some long-term freight out of them. Consistency. All right. You need to focus on that. What can I do to develop out a lane or a region that I can run for them consistently? Because again, people are still hiring, and they're hiring because that's the trend that's going on, is they have more dedicated freight. They have more contracted freight. So that's where it is. And that's the way that you need to handle yourself as an owner operator, a small trucking company, or even a broker who's building up your business overall. You need to look at it from that perspective, is how do I lock in long-term business? How do I get that locked in? If your customer base out there is only rocking spot market opportunities, they're doing that because people allow it to happen. And what I mean by that is probably because nobody or very minimal have put a case in front of a shipper to operate in any other capacity. And again, have these open and honest conversations with your customers, you guys. Like, if you're not talking to them about anything other than responding to their quotes and waiting for their quotes to come to you, you're just a provider. You're not an actual partner. You got to have those tough conversations. Okay. You have to have those tough conversations. You have to have in-depth conversations with people as well, so you can actually provide value. That article, again, was from my friends over at the JOC. U.S. trucking hiring surge is gaining momentum, which is always a good thing because we need to get more and more people into this industry. We need to get more and more people in to get excited about freight. Yes, I would agree with this, LinkedIn. You don't be a shithead. Pay your accessorials and pay them on time. I mean, I talk about this frequently. If your accessorials are a line item on your P&L for profit for you and you're a broker, you're a piece of shit. All right, plain and simple. And again, as always, I'm not immune to this behavior. Like, I've done that shady stuff in the past. All right. And if you're out there profiting, if you're billing your customer right now for detention and then telling the driver that you're not getting any detention from it, you're trash and you're going to get found out. All right. Because I challenge you all to this. How are you going to handle this conversation when your shippers reach out to you because a driver reached out to them? And again, driver, if I'll put this out there. If you sat at a shipper for 5, 6, 7 hours and you're getting ghosted from a broker on detention time, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence and find out, because again, I have had shippers who refuse to pay detention, and that's a thing. But if you're curious as if if that broker's not replying anymore, because I see that out there. And again, if you think your company's immune to this, go out there on social media. You'll be pleasantly surprised on if your company's acting as ethical as we all like to proclaim online. So, check it out and see, do your due diligence. If the broker's telling you that, or they're just not responding to you and you waited for 6 or 7 hours, I would do my due diligence. I would call a shipper and say, hey, did you pay attention on this? This was a load I was here for. Again, I might be opening up a can of worms, as Matt Fink says. But, it's just one of those situations, you guys. You got to look into it, because if we want this industry to change, we got to get this, minimize a lot of these tactics that have been going on for far too long. I'm going to get caught up with some of the comments here. Let's see. Chris Brewer, TMSA, dude, it's great. You guys need to look into this, Chris. I'm going to be honest with you, man. It's a great organization. And to me, it's a lot of the fact that it is leveraging your marketing and sales, and how, they're two different things, but having them work together to provide value to not only your customers, but, recruiting and everything else it's such a benefit. And again, I'm just a student of the game, you guys. I don't know everything. I'm never going to proclaim to know everything, but I can learn something from somebody. And that's the thing is sitting in on some of these sessions it's giving me some different ideas on how to produce better content, to provide more value out there. So I check it out. Han, good morning, sir. Binning Transport. Cody Miller, good morning. International Supply Chain Pros Day. Is that a thing? Are we serious? If it is, yeah, you're right. Let's fucking go. Chandler, good morning, sir. And yes, I am working up a can of worms, to say the least, Matt Fink. Let's see. Who's the current keeping all the Freight Coach fans from watching? Yeah, not yet. Chandler, I'm gonna see if that's something you want to do in the near future. Laura, good morning. Xavier, good morning. All right, let's get into the second article. Okay, Cody, it is. All right. I got to take a drink of water on this one because I'm going to be honest. This next article really, really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not going to even try and fucking sugarcoat this one. This one was written by FreightWaves. It was the Insider's Guide to Booking Spot Market Loads. It starts off to say, if Shakespeare were a trucker, he would ask, what's in a load? Well, I'm not as eloquent. I hope to answer this question from a standpoint of what a carrier should look for when booking spot market freight. Load bidding can be as much operational art as a science. Below are a few key factors to consider when slumming it on the load boards looking to book some spot market freight. Again, very condescending to start the bat by slumming it on the spot market. It's talking about load characteristics and, it's the location matters. Knowing your truck starting location, empty time, driving ability, and preferred lanes are also key to setting yourself up for success. Failure to take any of these things into account will result in angry drivers calling you and possibly yelling at you for failing to meet their needs. Origin, destination, number of miles, empty miles, appointment windows, and commodity. Origin, destination, we know all of that fun stuff here. And then appointment windows are also noticeable. Unfortunately, the freight market and the brokers who work the spot market often deal with customers that set unfavorable times. And that requires pricing strategy to overcome loss utilization. Again, if you're a broker out there and you are needing to put that information out there, let's call it what it is. If you're posting loads that, big city to big city is the way that I roll with it. But the first thing I'm stating is it doesn't pick up in, say Orlando, Florida. It picks up 15 miles outside of there in Kissimmee, Florida. It's one of those things putting out there, talking about, I guess the more information that you put out there for your carrier partners, the better it is. The more seamless it is, the more willing that people are going to want to work with you. let's see, determining of price. And then it goes on to say, now that you found the load, now it's time to price it. Unfortunately, spot market conditions are rapidly deteriorating. So the strategy of calling and asking for $1,000 over the market rate no longer works. And neither does immediately hanging up on the broker when he or she counteroffers. This requires savvy business skills that I hope you paid attention to after signing the loan on a $75,000 used truck that you bought that is rapidly depreciating and has over 500,000 miles. That is some of the most fucking condescending writing I've ever seen. Like, honestly, I don't know how this was actually published. I mean, I know why it was published. Like, let's call it what it is. But this is ridiculous to me that was even put in there. I mean, you're essentially just calling them all dumbasses. I'll read between the lines and call it. And I know that you're going to walk this back. Oh, that's not what we meant. Of course, it's not what you meant on paper, but anybody with half a fucking brain can put 2 and 2 together. Key factors to consider, the spot market, what is the spot market rate, the direction the rate's moving in, lower pricing. And when attempting to negotiate with a broker, try asking for a higher offer than what is posted, but be ready for a counter offer or get hung up on depending on the broker. I forgot to mention that with the market turns, the broker hang up on their carrier. It's knowing the average to maintain, 10 to 15%, blah, blah, blah. The commodity is what it goes on to. And then it, talks about, considering that it's a measure of quality of life after booking the load. He prefers plastic loads. He avoided things like floor-loaded tires and all of that stuff that was out there. Chandler, this article was very well published. And, of course, it ends with it's lighthearted. Of course, that's what they put at the very bottom of this. But to me, that's about as similar as somebody saying, I'm only punching you because I love you. I think that the entirety of this thing couldn't have been more condescending. All right. I'm just going to call it what it is. Like, this is ridiculous to me. And, the fact of the matter is it didn't add any value to that person who, they might have bought a truck that was overpriced due to the market being inflated. But the tonality of this at all is what absolutely just fucking drives me up the wall. And yeah, you know what, Chandler? Yeah, I'm embarrassed by this article as well. Highly embarrassed by this article. And, and again, of course, it was lighthearted, and that's what's going to be put at the end. It was lighthearted, like that's not what was meant, but it is. That's exactly what was fucking meant by it. And again, the reason I go live every single day, you guys, is to provide a different perspective on shit. Because I actually care about this industry. I've been in this industry my entire life. And, some of those people that are being mentioned in that article are my fucking family. All right. Legitimate family members of mine who still drive and who still own their own businesses. So if you think I'm going to just sit back and let that shit slide, it's not going to happen. So if you are one of those drivers that are out there right now and you're trying to do it, and, talking about the counter offers and everything else, if a broker's posting freight and you're within that line. So from my perspective, when I was posting, let's see, Laura actually posted that, Joe, the link to that article. So thank you for posting that, Laura. I appreciate that. And, it's like when you're posting freight, again, if I'm a driver out there and I'm calling on loads, I want to know all the little details. And again, like working with people and working with other brokers when we're out there, it is all about providing those details. It's being very direct with it. It's, because to me, it's not, a load doesn't weigh 40,000 pounds. If it's 40,750 pounds, be direct, like, and especially if we're out here, posting loads in a certain type of way, which I get, again, I understand posting the significance of big city to big city, talking about the commodities, being very detail oriented in your load posting. And again, are people going to read it? No, they're not going to read it. That's just part of it. But to me, the importance of knowing your costs, the importance of knowing everything that you are trying to look out for in a shipment. Again, you want to ask about the commodity. Is this load palletized? The amount of pallets that are on this load, is it a full truckload? Everything else, be very detail oriented when you're selling this freight to carriers. Don't just like throw this off, and say it picks here, it delivers here. This is what it weighs. This is what it pays. It's like, you wonder why people quote over $1,000 on that, you know, like, you want to know why? I would do that too. If I called somebody and it clearly sounded like they didn't know what they were talking about, I would quote over $1,000 over to see if you're willing to pay it. You know, it's not an uncommon tactic by any stretch of the imagination. You want to have that. You want to eliminate those from happening. Have a detailed conversation with your carriers. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, that's hard." That's hard. It's because you've never actually fucking tried. All right. So you need to get out there and you need to put actual information in front of your customer, your carrier partners when you're selling freight. Details are of the essence. All right. There's a ton of power in the details. Cody Miller, lighthearted at the end. It's just like saying, bless your heart from after making. Yeah, 100%. That's what my friends who live in the South told me. They're like, oh, bless your heart essentially is a way of telling you to fuck yourself. It's kind of funny. Let's see. Yeah, plastic loads. My level of offense is now greatly reduced. See you later. Oh, that's funny. Laura, yeah, you must be from the South. Yeah, the no offense. Yeah, no offense. Oh, man, you guys are great. But yeah, if you want to read that article, they put that notes in there. But yeah, it was, I can already see the backtrack that's going to happen from it. But, you know, it is what it is. And that just shows, you know, again, yeah. I'm going to get into the last article here. It is from truckinginfo.com, how trucking industry trends impact supply chain and industrial developments. And trucking sector may have impacted warehouse locations, which is the latest trend in domestic trucking industry, is how industrial occupiers choose regions and sites. The domestic trucking industry transports nearly 75% of the U.S. freight by tonnage. Truck drivers spend approximately an hour a day trying to locate parking. The median age is now 5 years above the average of 46 and a half. And women make up 7% of the labor force now, which is significantly lower than other industries. Another takeaway from the report is that EV trucks will likely range, 250 miles. The trend impacting supply chain and industrial development is spending. 2 years of elevated consumer spending has led to higher demand for trucking. It was a good article. It had some good information. I mean, it wasn't like the best, but I think that for me personally, I like, and that one was from truckinginfo.com, how trucking industry trends impact supply chain and industrial development. I think that, seeing how the warehousing can change to go, to kind of work with the trucking community's need and like where the volume of drivers are and how that impacts the industrial decisions. Again, like I found it interesting because I've never, had to decide warehousing space or anything like that. So for me, again, it's always you guys read these articles on your own, and these are my opinions. All right. I do my thing. I put my perspective out there because I've been in this industry for a very long time. But do your own research on a lot of topics. Read these articles, do your own research, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of information to be had, and there's a lot of information out there to digest and apply into your business and everything else. And some of the decisions that are made out there in the industry, it's fascinating because it's like, again, I've never been a shipper before. That's why I love talking to shippers so much now. And ironically, they love talking to me a hell of a lot more now than they ever did when I was actively brokering. But at the end of the day, it's always about what can you learn from a lot of these topics and how can that help improve your business overall? That's what you need to focus on. Plain and simple is you need to focus on all the information that's out there. How do you apply it to your daily life and see a meaningful change in your business? So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for today, guys. We're coming up on the end. I'm going to get out there. I got to finish up here at this conference. I'm actually heading over to Gartner in a little bit, go hang out with my friends over at their Emerge. They got a booth over there. So I'm going to hang out at Gartner too. And again, be a student of the game, you guys. I'm going to learn. And I should get one of those signs, live, laugh, learn. I'm just kidding. It's ridiculous. The audio only version of this will be available on the podcast. And again, new podcast episodes are released every Tuesday and Friday. Those are the long form interviews. I go live every single day. The audio version's uploaded on there. And again, subscribe and share if you see value in this. Okay, subscribe and share, because at the end of the day, this is how all of this shit has grown, is through each and every one of you sharing this out there, because if you see value in this, you guys, chances are people in your network are going to see value in it, and that's how this is going to continue to grow. I can't say thank you guys enough for all the support you guys show. I appreciate you guys all, and we'll be live again tomorrow from Florida. We're here till Friday. We fly back on Friday, but I'm going to be going live here because, again, I don't take fucking plays off. I appreciate you guys all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon. And now